Hello there, and welcome back to My Hero Academia reviews. Oh my god, I didn't know we'd be doing this so soon. We got a whole nother season already lined up. No, we actually have a movie. It's a movie. We're doing a movie this time.
Just like half a season. It was like half a season in a movie, though.
Oh my god. The amount of animation in this movie really makes me frustrated about certain things, but we'll get to that in a little bit. I am your host, Scott. Over there is a Grant. Say hi, Grant.
Hello, I'm Grant.
And then over there is a Nick. Say hi, Nick. Or Lani.
Hi. I'm not a host. I'm just here.
Yeah.
He's just appeared here.
And today we're going to be going over the third My Hero Academia movie, World Heroes Tour. That name,
wasn't it
Heroes
World Mission?
World Heroes Mission. That's the name of the movie. World Heroes Mission.
World Heroes Mission.
Yep.
Right there.
And as far as names go, not my favorite, but
Dragon Ball Superhero.
Whoa, we're not even there. Yeah, give that. That's got its own year and discussion, I'm sure.
That's own thing.
Once we got a full trailer for that, we definitely have to do a breakdown.
Not necessarily a super appropriate name either. They called it World's Heroes Mission, but it was mostly Japan, and then like they ran into like one pro hero from each country in the city that they were supposed to be doing their mission in.
To be fair, this takes place in San Francisco. So
Othio?
One of the places is San Francisco. Remember, we had a whole bunch of away teams.
Yeah, the other one was Clade.
Well, Clade is the country next to San Francisco.
Yeah, the one that they're trying to get to. Yeah.
Was it Othian? Othio? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, no, it's the place they were trying to get to and then trying to immediately come back from.
Yeah. But you can never come back from Othion.
No. Never.
There is no return.
But no, like they made a very specific note. They're like, oh yeah, we got heroes on missions all over the world here. They're stationed in this city, this city, this city. We're never going to really focus on them, but they're doing stuff, guys.
That was, like that aspect, not so much. But something I did like about this movie is I feel like it kind of just like went 0 to 60 right away. Like there was we have a little bit of this humanized cult kind of talking, or humorized cult talking to each other, and then all of a sudden it's just like boom, heroes are here and they're doing stuff, and we gotta move.
That opening was probably the best thing they could have done to grab me for this movie, because
the loud Funimation scream.
Oh Jesus! Besides that, we can talk.
Our theater.
We can talk about the fact that like Funimation was the only like tag at the only company at the beginning that even had sound on their logo, and theirs was like.
Yeah, it was an explosive sound first thing out of the gate.
Yeah, because unfortunately the audio balancing in the theater was turned too high up, so everything was sort of too loud from that movie. But whatever.
It got a bigger jump scare out of me than any horror movie ever has. Like, holy shit, Funimation, tone it back.
It's really got your attention.
That opening sequence
the opening
with the
sequence,
trigger bomb was holy shit.
We got to see a humorized attack on a, I guess, moderate-sized city where they let out this gas and it immediately makes everybody's quirks go basically nuclear, where it will just, override them entirely. We had a big conversation about what would happen if Spinner went more gecko. We got to see what would happen exactly as some guy went all turtle.
All turtle, which it was funny because I did not, I don't know if I really wasn't paying attention to his design, but I did not realize he was like a turtle quirk. So when he turned into a turtle, I was like, wait, is their bomb just turn people into turtles? That's a weird twist, but okay. I'm in it.
Is this some Secret of the Ooze bullshit, or?
Yeah.
But no, like you saw people like basically
that one dude with like wings, they erupt to become like building size wings. Was and sad.
Basically, when their quirk gets sent to its absolute beyond plus ultra limit, they turn into dust and just melt away. It was really kind of creepy looking. Like when
pretty rough.
Well, I mean,
that one Cyclops guy's like, I can't stop.
I mean, they don't all turn to dust. Some of them just die.
Yeah, some of them just die.
Did the turtle person die? Like, did they become a turtle and then the turtle died? Or did they just
turtle
live as a
certainly
turtle?
looked dead.
It definitely seems like the body's reaction to the sudden increase in quirk power could just potentially kill them. Either that or like the intensity of their quirk all by itself just does it.
But there was one person who had like firepower and it looked like they just burned themselves to death.
Yeah, that was a hell of a way to open the movie, to like really set the stakes of, yeah, these guys are bad. We
They
want
don't
to
have
stop
quirks,
them.
maybe, but they can still do some damage.
I am really happy that we had that opening sequence to make them intimidating because
Nothing else. Well, there were a few scenes.
I'll say this: I really like Arrow Chick. Literally everyone
Arrow Chick
else I
cool.
don't care about.
Like the villain squad, or just in general.
Because we only ever really get introduced. Like, there's one continuous side, what do you call it, henchman throughout the film. And
Which was Arrow Girl?
Yeah, and even, like, oh, and by the way, spoilers. Even like
I don't want to go, like, let's not go into spoilers yet. We should talk about the fact, like, we should talk about the things we like and dislike about the movie for people who might want to see it.
All right,
all
fine.
we've described so far is the opening scene, which, plug your ears for the Funimation part if you see the dub, and the opening attack. Holy shit! Like, it sets the mood.
You silly. It's in the sub version too.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
All right. Well, just bring earmuffs for the first 30 seconds. But
brace yourself.
Let's talk about like some positives real quick first. Like the animation, especially in some of those like action chase running scenes. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like near the beginning, fucking fantastic. There's this scene where they're running around rooftops and they just do this great tracking shot on this character. Like he's doing like flips and shit, doing all this sick parkour moves, and it just looks beautiful.
I really didn't want to have too much of a like actual audible reaction in the theater because we were at the Alamo Draft House, and that's just, you want to keep quiet there. And second, I didn't want to be like, throughout that entire sequence. But
damn.
There was some. I am a huge Sakuga guy. And holy cow, some of the stuff this movie does is supremely impressive. Like, kind of crazy, actually.
It was wild. I feel like, I don't know, maybe I wasn't the one tracking shot you're talking about. I definitely remember that and thought that was cool. But I feel like, honestly, a lot of the fights in this, at least for me, the action didn't really hit. I don't know if it was so much the animation as much as choreography and framing.
They found one thing that they really like doing, which is those really sick, bombastic chase scenes, especially when like Deku gets to like Spider-Man with Black Whip and he's like swinging around that bridge. You're like, ugh. But then when they try to mix it into the action of a scene, it can kind of get dizzying and clustery. It's like,
sort of
what
muddy.
is happening? Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to say this because I know that there were supremely talented people on this film, and they're definitely giving it their all, but there are a lot of segments where, pardon me, the action takes place far too up close, and a lot of these movements are hidden behind several like layers of compositing, After Effects, a lot of just motion that it's hard to tell what the hell is going on in some of these fights. Not all of them, not all of the time, but like the Bakugo.
Not all fights.
There's a fight later with Bakugo and two of the minions that half of it I didn't know what the fuck was happening.
Because they were doing some of that stuff that they were doing during the chase scenes with the camera like gyroscoping around Bakugo. Which, it can look cool in some situations, but in this one, it's like, where are we? Who's he? Which one is attacking now? What's
like the
happening?
camera's gyroscoping while Bakugo's sort of like dashing around, so it's like this, your eye doesn't really know where to go anymore. And it's like, there is like a layer of like, whatever you want to call it, like just kind of being lost in the action because it's just going so fast. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like, I'm trying to decipher, my eyes are trying to figure out what's happening, and I really don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at.
There's a bombardment.
It's something that it's something I can easily see triggering motion sickness in some people.
Yeah, with the amount of visual information on screen, with the lack of clear direction, it just kind of, it just becomes a muddled mess of cells. But yeah, it's not. There's still a lot of really good action. I would just say like a lot of the best action in the film isn't the combat stuff, actually. Some of the best action in the film is actually just all on its own. Those chase sequences, those bigger action sequences, those set pieces, those are phenomenal. But the actual fights are kind of, they're anywhere between confusing and hard to watch to, okay, that was cool.
Another big thumbs up for me is the background art and all of the scenery art. I mean, they dedicate an entire like road trip section to like a mini music video just to show off their beautiful scenery work.
Okay, I don't know, I can't remember if the second movie did this, but this film completely eschews the visual style for the backgrounds from the show. Like, instead of having a lot of those, like, kind of comic book inspired backgrounds with the blotchier trees and everything, no. This movie goes for a far more, like, clear-cut artistic realist style. I mean, not realist, but you know what I mean. It's
There was one shot, like, I can't remember, it was during the chase sequence, where for a second I thought this was like supposed to be a real world location, because like part of it almost looked like a photo that they were running on top of, and I was like confused. And I was like, am I supposed to be like, oh, this is an iconic real world location? So I'm like, I know where they are. But no, it was just a very realistic looking background.
Yeah. They
went above and beyond with their background art on this one.
I was also rather surprised. I fully expected to hate our movie-only character, our movie-only
side
deuteragonist.
Movie friend?
Yeah, the movie friend. Because when I saw pictures of him, I kind of thought he looked sort of, I won't lie, kind of lame. And I quickly fell in love with, his name is Rodyshow, I think it is?
Yes.
Rodyshow.
Rodyshow.
Yeah, Rodyshow is actually...
That's a blues name.
I know, right?
Sure.
He's easily the best of the movie, like the movie-only characters. Like, no questions asked. And part of it just has to do with the fact that his chemistry with Deku is pitch perfect. You have this sweet little Boy Scout next to a fucking pit pocket, like law-breaking,
smooth talker.
Yeah,
It's you're pairing
A kid
basically
con man.
Yeah, you're pairing a young Superman with Lando Calrissian.
and it works. It's phenomenal. Like, they're like throughout
The old Luke Skywalker Han Solo dynamic. It's just, you know, I'm a good boy and I'm a rebel.
I mean, considering how much Horikoshi loves Star Wars, that's a pretty apt comparison. But yeah, I actually, like, I just wanted to point out that in terms of, while the villains for me are rather meh, I really like Rhodey. I like Rhodey. I like his motivation. I like his involvement in the plot. He's great.
I want to say, just since you're downplaying the villains, I personally really liked Fleck's design. Like,
the main
character
Blue Man
wise
Group
and
guy.
maybe power I'm iffy on.
Really?
But like when I saw him, I was like, that's a cool looking dude. I'll remember how he looks.
Okay.
He has an interesting design. I'll give that. Like I dug
I
the
like
design.
his cool floaty mirror thingies or whatever they're supposed to be.
As far as villains go, he's incredibly one note.
Yes, yeah, personality-wise and everything, and all that we can maybe discuss later or something. But his look, I thought, was neat.
I will say, I am on the opposite end there. I absolutely hate
Oh, you don't like Blue Man Group?
Blue dabba dee dabu die, you say?
I didn't hate his design overall. There were some parts of it that I liked, but it didn't. I don't know. The other movie
It's
villains...
got that JRPG overcomplicated look that I feel like I secretly really like.
Okay. He kind of does look...
He looks like phase 2 of a final boss.
Yeah.
He does look like he could belong pretty all right in, say, Persona or Shin Megami Tensei. But I just genuinely didn't like all the little mirrors connected to him, the big flowing robe, all of that stuff. It felt over-designed, and the blue color scheme actually just did nothing for me. Although I will say, I loved what they did with his eyes. Like the little effect on his eyes.
Yeah, the little mirror things under his eyes, those are cool.
Those were sick. I liked those. But everything else just kind of like missed me, so...
Fair enough. I'm not here to defend it, just to go, I thought it looked neat.
And I'm not here to attack you, just to say I didn't think it looked neat.
That does lead to like one of the the first kind of like down points for the movie is that like the villain himself, his motivations, and it's all incredibly one note, which is fine because I guess this movie isn't really about the villain's plot. It's about, Deku and Rhodey on a road trip to try to save everybody from this one note plot.
A roadie trip.
Yeah, a roadie trip.
Ooh.
But yeah, the villains themselves, outside of Arrow Girl, who's kind of our like act like first half main kind of like foil character, I guess, or antagonist, like semi-antagonist.
Yeah, she is sick as hell, and I love her.
She's cool.
Yeah.
As soon as she showed up and like started showing off what she's doing, I'm like, ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked her like cool little just phase in like arrows and bow thing was just a nice touch.
Yeah.
Also, insanely hot. I gotta put that out there. Like
she was basically just Ash from League of Legends without cleavage.
Huh. You know what? That's actually not too far off.
Can't confirm or deny, but I'll take your word on it.
Yeah. So she was badass, awesome. Yeah, I liked her. She was kind of like the villain I actually cared about. Everyone else, meh.
And she had like no lines too, like, you know, it's which is cool, like just having like a silent badass assassin.
The scary silent villain who's just sort of chasing you.
She has a couple of like small lines here or there, but otherwise, yeah, nothing.
I'm trying to think of more like just general feel and thought stuff before we start going into specific things. Like soundtrack for this movie was okay. I'm usually got an ear for that kind of stuff, and nothing like really jumped out at me. They got some fun like sort of beatboxy like hip hop restylings of songs you know from the show's soundtrack.
Yeah, a lot of callback songs. Like they brought back "You Say Run" for like probably one of the best moments they could have, kind of there for the climax.
Also, the opening sequence. I love the version they used for the opening sequence. One of the things that I noticed though was, and this doesn't bother me, but I could pick out all of the animation that they took from the TV show to put in that opening.
A bit, yeah. It was one of those things where I'm like, did they really even need this opening collage? I don't know.
It's fine. Yeah. It's all right.
It was very whatever. I will say, I don't know if this is going too specific, but I was disappointed. I feel like at the lack of involvement for the other classmates.
Oh yeah, I don't think that's spoilers. Hey, if you wanted to see all of Class 1A involved, no.
Yeah. I feel like
of them,
something earlier movies got a little better than this one.
Yeah, 5 of them, including like my boy Koba, like just sitting there at the fucking couch watching things on television.
just be like, whoa!
They got they got the Vegeta in fucking Wrath of the Dragon treatment.
Yeah, it's not
just chilling.
It's not bad for the story. Like it makes sense that they're not so heavily involved in what's going on. But if you are looking for those other characters, no, this is Bakugo, Shoto, and Deku.
Mostly Deku.
Yeah.
It's mostly Deku. Even Bakugo and Shoto, like they kind of get a thing near the like kind of like the third act of the movie. They get some stuff to do.
A moment or two.
But poor Shoto, he just gets like he's just kind of held off screen for like 20 minutes, and then it's like, well, guess I'll win now.
But yeah, it's all in all, it is a fun movie with a lot of great action sequences. A really good deuteragonist this time around. I definitely liked him. It's definitely a fun watch. I would recommend it. If you are a fan of My Hero Academia, this movie is better than the first movie. Not as good as the second.
It's I still think the second one's better, but this one's far superior to the first one.
Man, you really don't like the first one.
The first one bored the shit out of me.
I would say this one for me falls like just in line with the first one.
Okay,
like
I can see that. I don't remember the first one that well, but I just remember not digging it.
I guess for me, like something with this is I feel like the movies are a big excuse to do something you can't do in the show. Kind of, that's the classic why you making a TV show movie.
In the first one you get Deku and All Might fighting side by side. Second one you get to see what Bakugo with All for One looks like.
And this one we get kind of like a globe-trotting adventure, but like we really don't, I feel like, get a like there's no way this could have been pulled off in the show moment for me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what really like kind of gut punches it. And that's why that goes along with my I was disappointed the rest of the class didn't get to do something, because like if you're not gonna get that cool like whoa moment, I feel like this is at least an opportunity to like let a bunch of things shine that don't normally get to, and that didn't happen either. So it's just sort of like we get to a peek at some worldwide heroes and some new locales and a new road trip buddy, and it's like it's not that those are bad, but it's like none of that felt kind of, I guess, special enough to me for movie status.
And it's a very small look at like the rest of the world too. Like I said previously, that you got like apparently Japan's just like kicking ass in the hero world, because
they run the hero show.
Yeah,
they're sending their students to help out top heroes in the rest of the planet.
They're sending interns on this mission to stop global terrorism, and In every location, you get this glimpse of like, one local hero, like in Egypt, easily the standout of all of them. You get this 2D guy who just looks like an old Egyptian hieroglyph pharaoh.
His name is Salam, I think.
Yeah, his name is Salam. And his power is that he's entirely two-dimensional, which led, like, I was just wondering, where does he get two-dimensional clothes? Does he have to draw it on himself, or does he just imagine what he looks like and then that's it?
Dips himself into a layer of paint.
Fun fact.
Or is he just always Egyptian? Like, just always a pharaoh?
I'm always Egyptian.
Fun fact.
Wait, no, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah,
Never
it's
mind.
not good.
He actually had
I was gonna show a picture.
Oh yeah, he actually had a small cameo in the manga lately. And it was I don't know. There is something happening in the manga right now, and obviously no spoilers. That makes me wonder if Horikoshi was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be doing this thing," and then they were like, "We're inspired for this movie."
This would be neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird that, like, of all places, America doesn't have some like super crew of super soldiers, superheroes, or some shit. Like,
who knows what happened? Like they followed an alternate history. Maybe the U.S. has a quirk issue.
Yeah, maybe everything just kind of fell apart.
Knowing us, we'd make them illegal for a while, and people would have them underground, and then we'd all of a sudden just slowly eke out legalizing it.
Yeah,
you know
how it is.
Nothing like that.
Impossible.
Don't get political.
Oh, sorry, my mistake.
That's my job. How dare you?
I'm just talking about. I'm just talking history.
Yeah, alternate universes, sir.
You think there would be quirk speakeasies in this alternate 20s? Absolutely. Yeah, I'd go to the quirk easy. I can finally look like a frog. My name's Froppy.
So yeah, I guess from here, in order to really talk about how we feel about the story, we do need to go into spoilers. But overall, I'd give this like a solid 6.5, 7 out of 10 for me.
I would give it a 7. Yeah, I'd give it a 7. It's a decent 7.
I think I'd match you, Nick. I'd probably be closer to 6.5.
Yeah,
I'm not going by like the American fail pass system either. 7 is actually.
I'm saying this is solidly. It's enjoyable. I did not regret my time there. 5 would have just been like I just saw Carnage and Venom. Okay.
For me, it's fine. I would probably say, I would check it on a streaming service. I don't know if I would have bought a ticket.
That's fair. So I guess, that's our spoiler-free section of the review. So I guess now we can jump into the spoils.
Yep, we'll break into spoilers from this point forward.
I loved Action Deku punching and like just having that little punch gif there for like a second, and then it becomes like 5 of them, and then we do a big punch.
There were a lot of great gif moments in this, honestly. Like the part where he's chasing the train.
The part where
you kind of see him in the background.
Yeah.
That was perfect. I was the moment we had that framing, I was like, Deku had better start running after the train.
He's coming up that window.
Like, I'm so glad that I understand like framing and film now, because that telegraphed that so hard, but not in a way that made me upset. Like, oh, I know what's gonna happen, but come on, make it happen, make it happen.
Yeah,
show up.
Say the line, Bart.
Exactly.
There was plenty of good stuff throughout. Like, I'd say the first half of the movie was its strongest part.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, I would.
Because it had those sick-ass chase sequences. You get those great character interactions between Deku and Rhodey before it becomes weirdly romantic near the end of the middle.
Bros being bros.
Being bros doesn't count. It's overseas.
I actually went to Twitter and I put in Deku and Rhodey and
of course.
Sure.
Yeah, I didn't look up anything else. Just Deku and Rhodey, and everybody was shipping them. Everybody.
No shit. There's this part where they're like talking, like they're having this sweet pillow talk at like the end of a day where they've been running, and he's like, "Don't you have a quirk?" "Yeah, but it's a little silly." "Well, you promise not to laugh?" "Of course." Then it fades to black, and they're just like doing shit the next day. I'm like, did they just?
What was the quirk?
Yeah, it's
the quirk is I've got feelings for you, Deku. Don't laugh at me.
There are plenty of sequences all throughout their little roadie trip that felt incredibly like cute and sweet, and
They had a fucking love ballad during a moving right along road trip sequence.
I want to point that out and say that, like, yes, it was a nice spectacle to see, like, the different backgrounds. That went too long.
That went way too long.
It was this, like, okay, I get it. Like, and I get that this is supposed to set up, like, Deku and Rhodey have become friends. Like, this, like, another big part of this is for us to get the impression that, like, they have spent a significant amount of time together on this road trip.
And you get to see some, like, cool little side pieces, like Deku using Black Whip to, like, haul the beater of a truck they have, like, Skyrim it up a mountain and shit.
Like, it's got good moments, and I understand why we need it to, like, you know, be like, time progressed, things happened, but you don't need to see every second of it.
It was like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, it was that, and it just, like, I felt like this movie kind of, weirdly enough, felt like it struggled to have something going on.
Yeah.
and then we just like, and now here's an intermission of our friends being buddies on a road trip in this superhero movie. And I'm like,
here's your bathroom break. Like, for real, after the first half, when you're kind of done dealing with the man who knew too little assassination plot, which kind of ends on, like, a somewhat of a high note, I guess. I don't know. Like, Arrow Girl, being a boss throughout, goes out like a fucking boss. Just like, not fuck you, sticking to my convictions. Bye.
By the way, I want to communicate, like, there's one part that really bothered me because I felt like I missed it until they added a piece of dialogue in there, which is where when the dude says, "Hey, I'll tell you everything," and she shoots him and kills him.
Oh, you missed that.
No, I didn't necessarily miss it. It was just really confusing for a second. I wasn't sure what had happened until she said, "Take that, you traitor."
You traitor.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay, so she just killed them. Mm-hmm. Because
to keep secrets.
Yeah, the framing on that was, like, really weird and not well visually communicated.
The funny thing is, like, you say, like, the "take that, you traitor" thing is what cued you in. To me, I'm like, that part was probably unnecessary. I saw her kill him.
You're like, I know what she meant.
Now I understand why test audiences exist.
The thing I felt behind on is why, like, so I get later that it was like Humor Eyes had infiltrated the police, and therefore they were chasing after Rhodey and Deku, and so they made him, like, most wanted and everything. How did they get there? Because that was still during the chase where people did not know where the case was.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why they were immediately like, kill this man, when at that point, heroes and villains, no one knew who had what and what was going on.
Yeah, that is something they just sort of skipped over.
So for me, I thought that it was like Rhodey was in dealings with people and they had done stuff, so they were hunting for Rhodey. And so when it was like, Deku is wanted in suspicion for these murders, I was like, how did this get tied in other than, like, he was with Rhodey, so it's Rhodey's, like, something from Rhodey's history that we're going to find out later.
Honestly, they overcomplicated it. All they needed to do was not have the initial, like, because the entire thing that set this whole thing up was Rhodey was set to basically grab a stolen parcel of jewels from some jewel thieves
he was there
and transport it to a fence. But then there was this other guy who's transporting this information about Humor Eyes and their big plot to kill all pro heroes, and these cases get shifted up. All you needed to do was maybe just have Rhodey not know what he's picking up and grabbing the case. You could have skipped that whole jewel plot in the beginning, and you could have easily had this. But then, yeah, like you said, with that mistaken identity, he's holding, like, they don't know who the fuck he is. They don't know that he has what they're looking for yet. And because they introduce that information later, after they try to shoot to kill.
Yeah, because they start shooting at him, they run for a bit,
which leads to another great chase sequence.
Arrow Girl with the jewels being like, "Oh, I got the wrong case." So, like, at that point, they still have no reason to be chasing or suspecting Rhodey and Deku. And I was hoping they would eventually, like, fill in on that, and they were just like, and it turned out they were bad people in the good places when they pulled them out of the police or whatever. And I'm just like, that still doesn't really explain how they. But whatever, it's a movie, fine. we'll go with it. I'm okay.
Yeah,
but just that seemed like a weird misstep to me, and like you're saying, now that I think about it, you're right. They just overcomplicated it for no apparent reason, as far as I could tell.
It's because they wanted to split up Bakugo and Shoto and Midoriya, because they were the ones trying to stop the jewel heist, and then Midori is the one who ends up chasing after Rhodey, who's supposed to have the thing that they're trying to get back.
Which also, again, like something we're contriving for fun of action and comedy, but like a little silly to me that this dude who has no superhuman real abilities is outrunning Deku, Mr. I've learned how to master like all for one cowling so I can move at super high speeds.
Yeah. But Grant,
he knows the city better.
He knows how to parkour.
Yeah, he knows his way around.
He knows how to flip on a chair.
It's all for fun, and again, I'm not saying these as like a serious, like, this is a bad movie because they did it, but it's just like little moments where I'm like, I feel like even in the show's logic, you could have made this make sense better, and you didn't.
They do seem to contrive some ways to give it some plausible deniability, like when he's like tipping things over and Deku like stops to help people to make sure they aren't hurt.
That was fun, and a character thing. And
the gag that actually made me laugh is when he knocked on a window and a dog opened it up and it knocked Dodoria off the. I'm like, that's cute.
Yeah, no, that was great. He does a lot to throw him off his scent, and for the most part, it all works. I think. I didn't even think about whether, like, I honestly never even thought for a second about, like, wait, Midoriya should be able to catch him.
The only time I was like, bullshit, is when he was climbing up the fire escape and Deku was like, jumping, jump, and then he like knocks him back down, but then like he's able to traverse the other half of it before Midoriya can literally leap up a building like he can.
For me, that was bullshit moment happened like immediately when the chase starts, because he looks down the alley and Rhodey is in the alley running, and then he's like, I've got him, and like we see him do his supercharged legs and bolt, and then like get to the end of the alley and he's already like way over there.
Right, yeah.
Like, wait a minute.
Like the idea is supposed to be like he got into this crowded section and Midoriya takes a while to look around, but no, you're right. He was in the alley. He could have just black whipped him.
Yeah,
which, by the way, he has full. Right there. Yeah, he has full control of by now, apparently. Which I mean, where we left off in the anime, he kind of already did. So okay,
yeah, and I'm still not sure exactly on when this is supposed to take place. So I just figured it's like he's had more time with it, so it's better.
It is almost certainly after, like, before the next season.
Yeah, okay. I think it takes place like after. Well, I mean, the season ends on like, oh shit, we're gearing up for war.
We're gearing up for a war.
In that little time skip there, it takes place. It's kind of like how Super takes place in between Boo dying and the end of Z.
Also, did this have, like, I feel like, I haven't gone back to look at it. I feel like there was an episode of this season that ended with like a tip at the movie.
That was the
did
beach episode.
Did we see Flecked or something? Was that what it was? I don't remember what the tip was.
We see Flecked at the end of the beach episode.
The beach episode.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the shrine slash I don't know what you'd call it, the baby. They're like, and this baby was the start of it.
They all hold their spears up to the baby. Bad baby.
Evil baby who have quirk no good.
Yeah, they're the Quirk Doomsday Theory books, just labeled Quirk Doomsday Theory.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be in the sub version, if that's a dub thing of just replacing text, but that looked really weird. Every time they held up a Quirk Doomsday Theory book, it just looked awkward.
Which as a plot, as motivation for a group makes sense, but it unfortunately makes it really one note. Like, yeah, this idea that, you know, if we allow quirks to flourish, more and more powerful quirks will begin to show up and eventually it'll destroy everything.
Yeah, we've heard enough characters mention stuff like that being a possibility that it's like that feels grounded and a in-universe reason for terrorist activity.
Just look at Eri. I think she's essentially the culmination of that whole plot idea where she has this ability to reverse aspects of time in some way, shape, or form. So, like, she has some ungodly power within her.
Well, we also just have Todoroki, who's like, we have two strong quirks, and they made a baby that was an even stronger quirk. Mm-hmm. And inevitably, presumably, Todoroki will one day have a child, which might be an even stronger quirk. So it's just like this is going to keep compounding and get worse and worse with time.
Yeah, that is kind of like one of the more dystopian parts of this world, is that if two people with quirks that don't work well together actually have a baby, and their baby ends up miserable because their quirks, like, suddenly have this really bad interaction with each other that kind of, like, I don't know, gives them this horrible disability. Like, that one dude, the dude with the, like, that we see in the last season who has the, like, teeth that are, like, make him unable to, like, live his life normally.
Or the villain in this movie, who was literally incelled into being a villain.
Yes, he couldn't.
He could not feel the touch of a person.
I
All of his lovers
really
rebuked
disliked
him.
that.
That was like I felt like it was a little heavy-handed.
It was heavy-handed, and it makes no sense. We're in a world where there are so many more powers that would fuck up your life so much more. Whereas this guy is like, I reflect anything that touches me. Like, so at least my understanding of that was it was an equal response of power. So I would assume a tender touch from a loved one would not burst them away.
I think the way they seem to explain is like he actually cannot touch.
He's just being repelled like a mini barrier,
yeah,
basically.
I guess there's like a little like magnetic field around him that you just can't quite get through.
But even then, we already have like in universe, I feel like multiple things that either neutralize
quirks,
or temporarily turn off quirks or whatever.
Imagine if Eraser Eye had been on this mission. Or Eraserhead, just like if Aizawa was in that room with Deku, it's like boom, okay.
Like now you can hit him and he's fine. But like,
I mean,
just like, I feel like
that's always the case.
That's why Aizawa had to be babysitting the crew that wasn't out.
But it's just one of those things where it's like we have an entire world that we have built that has like found ways to work around so many quirks. I feel like it is not at all realistic in this universe that there would not have been someone with a very similar quirk already existing doing things.
I'm sorry. I have to say this because I just realized this about a minute ago. What is the main villain's name?
Fleckturn.
Reflect.
Yeah, I just realized that.
Did you just piece together that pun?
I just did, and I hate it. Oh.
Yeah, Mr. Flecked
Arthur
can only
Flecked.
reflect.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's his motivation just seemed really weird to me, and it was this whole like I'm going to build.
If a quirk can do this to me, then what can it do to the world?
I have to assume he didn't start this cult being someone with a quirk. But like it just feels like this really weird like.
Well, wait, hold on.
This.
Why wouldn't he?
I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it just seems like it's this very anti-quirk thing, and so I guess I wouldn't see a bunch of people coming around a person who had a quirk
and you had like a whole bunch of people.
I could see him working his way up.
Yeah, you had a whole bunch of people with quirks in there who were basically being like, yeah, no, we'll get to live, we'll get to survive this. They'll let us live.
This big purge, but like it just felt like this really weird like. And also, I have a sad quirk that made nobody love me.
My mommy couldn't hold me.
My penis literally deflects women.
And it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt very, I don't know if thrown together is the word I'm looking for, but like when he started doing his spiel of like I was ostracized, cast out, I'm like, I feel like a hero service would have definitely jumped on this power. Like there's
somebody could have done something with that.
There are tons of avenues in this world we've set up that would have worked for him, and it was just like, so instead I made a cult about purging 90% of the world.
Sometimes that's just what you gotta do. You've gotta make trigger bombs that blow that turn people into turtles, okay?
Although what they eventually just said, well, at least the attack in the movie was mainly there to target the big pro heroes, apparently all from Japan.
Okay, to be fair, there were a ton of other heroes. We see them in the background all of the time. This movie just focuses on the Japanese heroes because they're the only ones that have names.
They're the ones we care about.
I will say the fact that the big lion dude is named Big Red Dot makes my heart swell.
It made me happy that there was a movie where Leomon survived. For now.
Also we get to see the Godzilla hero again.
The Godzilla guy shows up in the background.
And I'm sorry, I don't want any more movies about any other characters besides him, okay? Make the fourth movie about the Godzilla hero. That's all I care about.
He was the best part of the first movie.
Yep. No, I'm not even kidding. Unironically, yes.
He's just a hero that turns into Godzilla.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
he looks like Godzilla at a normal size.
Why do filler episodes have to be excuses to get froppy in water, and why can't they be watching Godzilla Man save a city?
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Godzilla Man cross Mount Lady. There we go.
Perfect. They team up. They gotta save a place. I like it.
Yeah, just big, like my hero kaiju mission.
I couldn't figure out where to go from there.
Exactly.
My kaiju academia.
I wanted to say, since we kind of had to gloss over them, as we said before, when it comes to the villains, most of them have some like interesting designs. I really
like the Oni dude that showed up just to get jobbed by
or even the
Midoriya.
dude who just throws giant iron balls. Like I'm not exactly sure what his quirk was.
He looked like his quirk was basically the same as that one ninja from the exam.
Like metal enlarging.
Yeah,
he can make things smaller or bigger or something.
But that first of all, I like when he hands her the balls. It's like, no, use these.
Just shoot these.
Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah, that was good.
Like, what a great combination.
That's a fun team attack.
And then you have okay, what in the world is the quirk of those two twins? What is that quirk?
It looks
Their
like
quirk,
it's just metal
I kinda
chains or something.
They just have like weird metal blades they manipulate. It's the dude that Todoroki fought that I have no idea what his power was.
Yeah, his shit was weird.
He was
like,
just ugly.
Was it like momentum based? Was it element based? Because it seemed like he was able to create like weird whirly whatsits and just trap Todoroki for 20 minutes off screen.
If I could extrapolate. If I could extrapolate, I would say maybe his power was like manipulating energies.
Yeah,
because it's like he could warp the flow of Todoroki's water and his fire.
Hold on.
So
does it have?
I do have the book, so I'm gonna see.
Yeah,
you guys keep talking. I'm gonna look for it.
But yeah, I thought as you said, Bakugo's fight was okay. It was good. You know, like it wasn't amazing, but it was good. It was also visually really confusing. And also, I swear to God, if I hear the phrase "Don't give me orders" or "Don't order me around" or "Don't tell me what to do" one more time,
don't tell me what to do.
I'm gonna fucking Roblox myself. I can't.
I mean,
they
like
leaned on that a bit hard.
But I like that bit, but yeah, I was hoping they would have found a way for them to eventually have Bakugo not have a way to be mad at them giving him orders. Like, I don't know how, but just saying it in a more like, hey, do you think you could do this? Or I bet you can't. Or like him taking it as a challenge instead of him being like, don't give me orders. But yeah, they just kind of kept running the joke in the ground instead.
It is sort of funny how Bakugo is kind of a Bakugo and Shoto are sort of non-characters throughout this movie, except it just exists to help move the plot along. Although,
no, they're kind of just a power couple hanging out in the background.
Let's just talk about the fact that Bakugo has to play hacker.
Yeah,
I
dude,
do like
Bakugo
that.
immediate
Bakugo is great.
Yeah, Bakugo immediate computer expert. Like, holy shit, out of nowhere.
Although I do like that he's like, let's see what the latest file is. Oh, it's this video, and it's an audio file.
Yeah, it's this video. It's an audio file that turned into a video.
I do like the fact that it's very logical. Like the things that he does are not. You don't need skill. He's like, look,
a general understanding.
Yeah, and I really dug on that. I kind of
okay.
Oh
god.
Oh god.
Well, I was gonna say I found the guy. So Todoroki's foe is named Leviathan, which I think is a good name.
I mean, considering, yeah.
His quirk is called Helical Scythe. It allows the user to create water twisters from his fingertips and horns on his head. The water twister attacks cover an extremely wide range and pierce all objects like a drill.
But it seemed like he could also control fire near the end too.
That's
I don't think he could
kind of
control
what I got
fire.
a vibe. But I think he might have just been getting water to dissipate the fire. I'm not
Maybe.
sure.
I don't know.
But anyway,
either
water
way,
swirls.
His real quirk was being able to hold Todoroki off screen for 15 minutes until Todoroki won.
The other guys were Serpenters, were their name. And they are just twins, I guess, that with a shared name. Quirk Sword Kill. From their arms and shoulders, they can unleash flexible swords that fold in and out like an accordion. When their quirk is trigger boosted, they can produce up to 6 swords, and their faces turn into more sinister snake-like monsters.
The entire time I was just thinking about Ivy from Soul Calibur.
Yes, they just had the Ivy sword, the chain sword.
Those chain swords are pretty sick. Although the movie kept doing this fake out thing where it made you think the heroes were taking bigger, more serious hits, and then revealing, oh no, actually it was a hit on the side, not to the gut. And it's like, okay, I get it. But yeah.
And then Rhodey got shot in the stomach, and that was, I guess, real. But then he was still fine.
Nope, no, that was the side too.
Was that the side?
Yeah.
I thought he was like genuinely punctured.
No, just the side. I mean, obviously it was enough to almost kill him, but
yeah.
Also, what kind of quirk is I can make a fake or manifest a fake bird that tells you my feelings? What?
Yeah.
What?
I was hoping for more, especially with how they kept taunting the my quirk is weird, don't laugh at it. So I was like, okay, we're gonna come in last moment. He's gonna swoop in 11th hour with Chekhov's quirk that saves the day.
I mean, to be fair,
technically he does, but it's still like,
but it has like next to nothing to do with his quirk. It's just it stays Deku's hand, but he was already pretty injured and probably not gonna do anything anyway. But it was like just this like when he's like. You start getting the audio of their what's your quirk conversation again when he's getting ready to hand over the key, and then it's a little funny, don't laugh or something, and then he flips the thing with his thumb. I was like, wait, is that his quirk? Is his quirk he's got good dexterity? Where are we going with this?
I mean, sick at parkour.
At least they do hint that it is the bird in that shot. Because the bird tells
kinda, but it flew over my head, pun intended, I guess.
It flies over your head until you look back at it in retrospect. I'm okay with it being a thing that's just explained in retrospect. It's just that was a little weird
But when you lay it on so heavily handed as you're watching it, you expect the answer to be more obvious, you know?
Yeah, well, as you're watching, yes. Yeah, I was also like, what was it? What was it? You didn't explain anything.
It's a difference between bumping expectation versus letting down from a setup, because it's I feel like they talk about it and bring it up enough to where it's gonna be it's gonna be a big thing, and then it's just no, this little cartoon bird that's been following me around is my quirk, and it just it reflects my emotions.
Luckily,
although in hindsight there is some stuff there that kind of makes sense, when the bird is telling Midoriya no, don't worry, I'm not actually betraying
it's
you.
Cool.
Yeah, I also really dug on and the bird does save the day. At the very least, the bird is his quirk, and the quirk does save the day, so that's cool. Also, at the very end, I won't lie, when Deku watches it cry and he goes in to give Rhodey a hug.
No, that was cute.
My heart,
that's fun.
My old gay heart.
It's just one of those things where it's you could have made that not his quirk, and the bird saying no, everything's cool would have not been confusing or weird at all. It would have all still made sense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's also kind of it does give Rhodey kind of more of the W instead of it just being the bird, which if it were the bird, I think it's a little interesting because animals in this universe are not shown to have any particular sentience, at all. The closest you have is the fact that they respond to coda, and so that makes me wonder.
Mouse principal, sir?
The dog police chief?
Those are okay. Actually,
those are people. No, those are people.
I'm actually not 100% sure if those are. I know the dog dude.
The principal isn't. He's an experiment.
Yeah, he's an experiment. But yeah, anyway, point being, I was wondering, no wonder that's a quirk. And I'm wondering, did Midoriya the entire time just not think about the fact that, what the fuck is this bird?
You just have a very well-trained pink canary thing.
Apparently, yeah. But it's, I don't know. Again, it's a weird quirk to have. I
mean, I never would have guessed it. I can definitely at least put that
I imagine
the whole thing. I was trying to figure out what it would be.
I imagined the bird was part of his quirk, but I didn't. I didn't put two and two together that it was this one only tells this bird only tells truths.
What if he and Pino did a fusion thing and it gave him a buffed up fighting mode? Now see, then I would have been into it, because then that would have been the shonen power jump thing that I was looking for.
Pull an Akamaru with it.
Ooh.
I have to turn pink and goofy looking, but I'm super strong and fast and can fly.
What if over time, if he were to work on improving his quirk, it just gets bigger and stronger? And what if it's just basically just becomes a stand?
Yeah, he just has pet shop.
Oh wow, yeah. I don't know. It's neat. I think the entire idea behind the quirk is that it's not that it is a bird. It's just that's what he manifests it as.
Yeah.
As far as other parts of the movie go, I mean the climax, the part that this the show doing what the movie doing what the show wouldn't. I guess this was an excuse to give Deku a United States of Smash moment, which felt a little. I mean, it was a cool scene with amazing animation.
I like the visual.
The visuals were fantastic.
Did you notice that the visuals are strikingly similar to something that we saw in the show last season?
I can't remember.
There is
It's not jumping in my mind right away.
There's the scene where Ida is fighting Mudman, and he does that. Yeah. There's a lot of visual cues taken from that, and it makes me wonder, like, which scene was.
We did talk
first.
about how good that looked.
They might have been working on them at the same time, just being like, "Oh, we did this. We can do this here because we already have this shit laid out."
And they also took some visual cues with the punches from
the punches were cool.
Yeah. And that was very similar to like the previous movie, plus Midoriya's fight with Chisaki.
But it was a little disappointing though that the battle between, you know, the immovable object and the unstoppable force just was like, you know what, I'll just overpower the immovable object. Like I thought he was actually going to have to do something like, you know, we discussed earlier, just go in gentle, like go in for hug, and then just like not let go.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, like, all right, what's gonna be the cool, like, maybe this is me trying to think of things more like in a JoJo's way, but I'm like, what's like the moon logic way we're going to beat this? I automatically reflect everything that happens to me.
I thought Midoriya was gonna have to learn some like Brazilian jiu-jitsu and like get him in a hold or something to like, you know, just gently get in there, grab him, and like
there is
Deku with the armbar.
There is a reason that I don't like a lot of filler when it comes to fights, because a lot of filler, and this was the worst in the Hunter x Hunter movie, by the way. Both the Hunter x Hunter movies are terrible when it comes to this.
Never saw them, going to avoid them.
Please do. In Hunter x Hunter, one of the major things is it's all strategy. It's all utilizing rules that we've already set up and how to bend and even break them.
Somebody can have a super powerful Nen ability, but if you have something that counters it...
Yeah. And it's all about strategy. It's all about mind games. It's all about playing, like, because nothing happens in a vacuum. That's the thing that I love about Hunter x Hunter. In the movies, none of that. None of that.
I just need to hit you harder.
Exactly. It's all just throwing nen abilities at each other. And in My Hero Academia filler, and like in this movie, I feel like Bakugo does have that moment where he gets to really be like, oh, like I was able to set up my grenades and drop rocks on you, which, okay, that works.
Yeah, he got a cool moment, but that was kind of the midway point of that fight until they like juiced and then came out and Bakugo just had to hit them harder.
Yeah, and then, but with Deku, it really is just, I have to keep fighting him until his, reflect is just
I just have to prove
weak.
My punches last longer than his reflecting.
Yeah, and then there's whatever happened with Shoto.
Go beyond plus ultra, and Shoto was just a waterfall, and I win.
I thought Shoto was gonna be like, my whole thing is ice. You just threw me in a big thing of water. Like,
just like freeze all of it.
I'm going to win. Yeah. But then it's just like, oh, he's drowning, I guess. Oh, I guess this isn't gonna work.
Poor Shoto just spends like the last 15 minutes of that movie just drowning off screen until he wins. That's all it was.
Also, it is kind of amazing, like, just watch, like, because when it cuts back to Endeavor and he's like, Shoto's got the shutdown key, you just know his heart is like exploding. My boy.
Another big question that's kind of been brought up by this movie: is it canon to the anime?
I don't know, nor do I care.
Because if it is, they are absolutely some of the top heroes in the world, outclassing a good chunk of the top 10.
I mean, it is a little bit like, okay.
We're gonna have another stain situation where we're not gonna be able to tell anyone that you did this, and we're just gonna have to say heroes did it.
They absolutely can though. They are licensed. They're allowed. Mm-hmm.
Which is why fucking Rhodey is the one that gets the final win, because it can't be like, Deku literally saved the day. No, Rhodey did it. Rhodey. Who cares that Deku was the one that stopped the actual leader?
This kid.
I'm really glad they didn't do what I thought they were going to do. I really thought they were going to make the dude with the suitcase Rhodey's dad. For somehow, I don't know. And as it turns out,
honestly, I thought that was going to be the case too, but that dude just fucking disappears.
Yeah, I thought he was going to come back at some point.
Oh no,
and Rhodey's dad just kind of died off screen somewhere.
Yeah, and he was just killed by the organization, which, I mean, sad, but.
That was sad, but it was this layer of like, I don't know if I needed that, where it's like the recording that we got from this guy also just happens to go like, and even a fellow researcher, Eddie Soul, died.
It's like, and Midoriya doesn't put two and two together, but you see the bird get really sad, and it's like, audience knows.
Yeah. And it was just this like.
What are the odds that these two happen to share a last name?
What are the odds that
it's
he
just
was
one of
going
those
to hide
things
the
where it's like-
shutdown switch inside of the same puzzle that he gave his kid?
I know, it's great.
I hope he remembers how to solve it.
I mean, honestly, Deku could have just snapped it in half and opened it, but
Yeah, that would have been great. I would have loved if we have that whole loving flashback of him like solving the puzzle and then
Deku
finding
just
that.
grabbed it.
Deku just got it.
Yeah, no, like you have that moment where Rhodey has a flashback to do. It's like, wait, let me, and then just Deku, tink. Oh, got it.
I figured it out.
There
It was
it is.
holding something, you guys.
Also,
holding a little SD card and this weird stick of gum.
they should feel very lucky that throughout that film where that thing was being thrown around and dropped and being knocked everywhere, that stuff didn't.
People getting shot through all of their parts with laser beams.
Also,
Oh god.
I'm sorry, I gotta say this. I'm getting real sick of heroes like being chased by a bunch of people with guns and then turning around and preparing their attack as they're getting fired at. I don't know why I'm bringing that up, but it was just so distracting when
tired of it happening.
When
I mean, they actually had guns this time around, but nobody could aim for shit.
Yeah, I hate that.
Turns out.
I'm getting sick of seeing a bunch of people. I'm sick of the stormtrooper effect.
Which is why you need more people like Kirishima who can take a bullet.
Yeah, it really bothers me because I like the idea of having to use your power and your environment to protect yourself against a bunch of people. But if you can show me that over like 10 dudes with firearms and some semi-automatics cannot hit one person,
still missing.
Are still missing. I'm sorry.
Some of it makes sense with like the speed that Midori would be bouncing around the walls. I can buy it. I can buy him being missed.
I guess, but this was like, I don't know. It bugs me. It keeps happening.
Yeah.
Something when you were mentioning earlier about how lucky they were that the case remained in play after everything it went through. I did not understand, because this was, I think, before they were being like actually hunted for it clearly, when they were in the subway or whatever, and Midoriya makes him open up the case and they find out it doesn't have the jewels. I don't know why Rhodey held on to it after that point. like after that, he was still like clinging to it.
He was still trying to feign his innocence.
Yeah.
When
they're being thrown around that like bridge or whatever, when the hunt starts, like I feel like at that point, let's
you
just
let go
drop this
somewhere.
case. I don't give a shit anymore. But like he's still holding it like it's like very valuable to him, and I was not sure why.
Yeah, that's you raise a valid point.
There's an argument
bringing up things that can be easily issued with. It's a fun movie. Don't worry about it.
There's an argument to be made that one, he's under a lot of stress and so he's just grabbing onto it, or maybe like he thinks that this is his key to getting out of here. Like, look, something happened. Maybe if I can explain it by showing
just hand
them this.
back the briefcase and be like, it's not mine.
So there's reasons that he might hold on to it. That said,
I thought the reveal was gonna happen or whatever would be he opens the case, shows it's nothing. He's like, well, anyway, I'd better be on my way. Ha ha ha! I thought he was like gonna ditch it in a trash can, and Deku was gonna see that and be like, wait a minute.
Also, really glad that the arrows, the arrow that Deku got hit with, wasn't one of those superpowered arrows that she can apparently just
just blow people up with.
Yeah, because some of them were destroying like rocks and shit, and the one that hits Deku just destroys his phone and kind of punctures his
sticks
side.
into his cell phone and like kind of jabs into his chest a little.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's an anime movie. Based off of an existing property.
There are a lot of numbers of like times where like people look like they take way more damage than they do, and that's just kind of an anime trope. I mean, Deku gets absolutely eviscerated by these lasers. He's not able to get to his feet, but then he musters enough strength to get back up and get that win back. Meanwhile, Rhodey gets shot once, and he's like, "Oh, fuck this!"
Well, he's not a superhero.
He's
I can
not.
allow that.
His
But
quirk's
like
a bird.
When Deku got really messed up by the lasers, I do feel like that is like maybe the longest the show has ever just hung on like no dialogue. You're just hearing blood falling out of a person. Because it was like an awkwardly long shot of just seeing this blood pool extend, just hearing like a.
Thank you for
sound.
noticing that too. I wasn't going to say it, but I literally have thought about it twice since the movie.
It was literally a wound. When you saw him get it, you're like, oh shit, how is he gonna get out of this? But then you're like, oh wait, he's just gonna be an anime protag.
That's
Yeah,
right.
no,
Plot armor. I forgot.
Like
Yeah.
he goes on to dodge like 26 more after that.
Also,
And
notice
never thinks to destroy the cannons until he has to.
until Rhodey is running away with the thing. Why? Why wait till whatever? It's fine. You know what? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
It's a fun anime movie. They were just having a
Fun
fun time.
anime!
They were traveling the world.
Yeah, I know,
Just
I
got
know.
done with this crazy road trip.
Nitpicking
Look at
it,
this Egyptian guy.
nitpicking it to death won't do us anything. It's
was-
just
It doesn't change what enjoyment I had. It's just little things that are like, why?
yeah.
One of my favorite lines is when Todoroki and Bakugo join the scene, and Todoroki's basically like, "You haven't learned anything. Your codes are still indecipherable." Like,
Yeah, your
just
codes still suck.
like, just
That was great.
Like, Deku, you have got to learn to make your codes a little clearer for those of us trying to read them.
Which is great because it shows that they're actually teaching them certain things in class. Like, yeah, sometimes you're gonna have to give a cryptogram to somebody in order for them to try to figure out what you're saying. So make sure that it's legible.
I'm really glad because the moment they had a code to be deciphered in Japanese, the dub definitely handled that very well. I was very
Yeah, I wanted to know. Okay, what did that?
List.
I wanted to know, like, what did that say in Japanese? Like,
I've been thinking the same thing. No, we probably won't know until it's streaming. So
I mean, the thing like going down still said kuraido. So
yeah. So
that is where they were headed. But hey,
yeah. Is there anything
those
else?
those
want to talk about?
those nitpicks aside, that's all I got.
Yeah, I feel like that's everything I've got right now. I'm also running like on 5 hours of sleep, so I've just been letting you guys handle most of the conversation.
You stayed up thinking about this
Hey.
movie a long time.
I
you
stayed
just
up
kept
working
thinking about it.
I was working on December. Oh god.
No, you were thinking about this movie, Scott. It's okay.
all about this movie.
I was spending the entire time.
Writing Midoriya and Rhodey fanfics. We know.
Hey, look, I've got an artist working on a like 10-page comic. Okay.
Yeah.
Movie was all right. Like I said, don't know if I loved it, but hey, it was a fun time. Had some good scenes. I'm not gonna pretend it was awful or like it did everything wrong. Just it didn't hit me, so I didn't love it. But still a fun time.
Animation was a big plus. I still think the second movie was a lot better, but you know what? As far as My Hero things go, it's far from the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think I would also agree. I would still say My Hero Movie 2 probably the best one.
I will say, at least in movie 2, the amount of the villains. I don't know. I feel like in movie 2, the main villain was so
More people
lame,
had
but
times to shine in the second.
Yeah, I actually really liked that setup. In the third movie, just like again, not Ash is the star. She is phenomenal.
Yeah. The comment on other characters getting a shine and like how I brought that up earlier, it is making me realize that it's like, yeah, I think that's what I like about the longer runtime of the movies is I feel like that gives us an opportunity to have these characters who don't normally get to do stuff on a 20-minute episode.
Fuck that. We're gonna have a road trip set to a song and beautiful backgrounds for 3.5 minutes.
Fine.
Yeah, make it my screensaver, man. Look
There
great.
were
Like,
so many screensavers in just that sequence alone. God,
it was fucking
damn.
pretty, man. Like they were trying to go for their big Lion King opening scene moment. Like, damn.
Yeah. So beautiful movie. A lot of really good moments. Kind of bad villains. And the way they win is boring.
It's whatever. Yeah.
But
But
hey,
overall,
at least Rhodey rocks.
Yeah, and what did you guys think of it if you saw it out there? Let us know. Maybe we're entirely wrong. Prove us wrong by leaving a comment and telling us why.
Fun fact, also something we discovered like right before the movie started. Last movie I saw before the pandemic, My Hero the movie 2.
No shit.
First movie I see since the pandemic, My Hero the movie 3.
That
Hot damn.
So, knocking me out of theaters and pulling me back in.
Oh man, that's hilarious. That's really good.
Also may bring up the idea that this pleasurable thing, my last two memories of it have been a work function.
Also fair.
But
At least you do what you enjoy.
there you go. I had
Hopefully.
fun both times.
Hopefully, yes, we hope. But hey, thank you all so much for joining us for another My Hero Academia reviews. Obviously, this is going to take a hiatus until the next season is up, but we'll have more content going up on this channel here and there.
Presumably.
Make sure to tune in the Talkcast Pod Show, and we'll see you
Sometime.
Bye.
In the future. Look at Pino. He's so cute.